Welcome to the Long Story Short podcast with Mark Goldman, Ronn McCormick, your host from Goldman McCormick Public Relations. If you're here to learn how to work with the media, if you're here to learn from the wisdom of other established PR professionals, this is the podcast for you. Let us begin today's show. Joining us now is Ronn Torossian, President and CEO of 5WPR. He's one of the most respected PR professionals in America. Under his leadership, 5WPR, which he founded in 2003, it's grown into one of the top 15 independent PR firms in the nation, with more than 150 professionals in the company. Torossian, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Ron, you've grown your agency to over 100 employees. What core PR principles do you insist that each employee embody, and how do you quickly assess the level of skill in each of the publicists?
I think that people need to learn how to think. I think thinking is really a core skill that people need. Google is not thinking. Not every answer is available at your fingertips. I think it's really necessary to understand how to think, and I think it's something not enough people, know how to do. I think people need to be creative. It's very, very, very important to be creative and to have a thought list. I think there's a bunch of different things. I think people who have been successful at something before are important. I think people who are digitally fluent are important. I think one of, if not the most important thing is hunger. Not just hungry, but really, really hungry for success, driven by the desire to do a great job, driven by the desire to make more money for your client, to make more money for yourself, to make money for your agency. That's very, very, very important. I think people are articulate is something important. Are they educated enough that they can write, they can speak, they can argue coherently and persuasively? Do they have personal confidence without being arrogant? And then the last one I'll give you for this is working hard. There is absolutely no substitute for hard work. Those are very important things.
Excellent. And Ron, what was the biggest mistake you ever made in PR? And what lesson or lessons did you learn from it? And reflecting back, are you thankful that you made that mistake?
So as far as I gave you a long-winded answer for the first one, I'm not going to give you a long-winded answer for this one. My biggest mistake is one I will not confess to on a recorded call. But I will tell you that, I think as you get older, I think you get smarter. We're in business now 15 years, thankfully, and I, understand why God gave me 2 ears and 1 mouth. I think that, there's, as I tell my children today, there's the ability to listen and also the ability to hear. So I don't just want to hear you. I need to listen to what you're saying. I think that being young has a lot of great attributes, but I think it's very important to know when to think before you act. I think my best advice for people is to learn from your mistakes. You asked me, did I learn from my mistakes? Yes, absolutely, we've learned from our mistakes, and I hope I will continue to do so for as long as I am, in this world, both personally and professionally. I want to always get better.
Excellent answer. You're listening to the Long Story Short PR podcast with Ronn McCormick and Mark Goldman. Money aside, Ron, what are the 3 common reasons why a client might fire a PR agency?
So first, I think that, a public relations agency needs to understand that client CEO doesn't stay up at night worried about a PR firm. They stay up at night worrying about their business. I think at the end of the day, PR firms need to understand their client's business. That's number 1. Understand your client's business. Number 2, relationships matter, okay? Knowing somebody, knowing what they want, knowing what they need, that really matters. That the client likes you isn't enough. That the client needs you is what it has to be. I would tell you that that's point number 2. And point number 3, frankly, the fact that you've had a client for 6 months or for 6 years doesn't mean they're your clients forever. You need to treat it like you always want it. You need to treat it like you're always pitching that business. At the end of the day, frankly, I think we are always pitching a client's business. I think it's very important to pitch business, to pitch the client's business all the time. So those are my 3 points.
Great answer, Ron. And how do you successful should PR executives be to their clients? Should they be just as successful as they are to the media, being able to take their call 24/7? What are your thoughts on that?
Yes, I think we always have to be accessible to our clients. I think, those who are best at PR at the end of the day are really client counselors. We're in the boardroom, and I get the call oftentimes same time that the client called their lawyer. And like it or not, we're in a 24/7, media environment. We're a 24/7 world. And yes, I think that, we need to always be accessible to our clients.
Mr. Ronn Torossian, President and CEO of 5WPR, I want to thank you so much for being with us today. Learn more about Ronn and his great agency by going to their website at 5WPR.com. Ronn also has an incredible book about PR called For Immediate Release. You can learn more about it by going to 5WPR.com and Amazon.com. Mr. Torossian, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you very, very much for what you guys do, and thanks for the call. Be well. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Joining us now is Frankie Boyer, host of the nationally syndicated Frankie Boyer Show, heard on the Biz Talk Radio Network, and the Frankie Boyer Health Show. You can learn more about Ms. Boyer by going to her website at frankieboyer.com. Ms. Boyer, welcome to the program. It's the first question we have.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. First question we have for you is, what types of guests are you actively seeking for your show?
Oh, wow. That is, I really want someone whose story is going to be riveting, interesting, and something that we can all relate to or be in admiration of. So it can be from sports to business. One of the great things about doing a show on Biz Talk Radio is that it's a lifestyle show. I do 4 segments a day. Sometimes I do longer segments with people. And I try to be as eclectic as possible. I try to mix it up because I have the attention span of a gnat, and I want diversification in my life, and I like that. I think it's great to have little sound bites of information. If there is someone that is great, I'll have them back for a longer segment, or sometimes if it's a subject that I feel is important, I will do an extra segment and keep them on for 2 segments, as I do on my cannabis show, because there's so much to talk about and so much to become educated about. So it really depends on the guest, but that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for all walks of life. I'm looking for people who can tell the story in a way that we all want to listen.
Great. Well, you're listening to the Long Story Short PR podcast. This is Mark Goldman and Frankie. What's the worst pitch you've ever received from a PR person?
Oh, my gosh. I think when they read the pitch, it is so annoying to have a PR person read me a pitch. Instead of sharing with me, hey, Frankie, I've got a really great guest I'd love to talk to you about. And I'm like, okay, sure. And when they start reading this, and they leave me messages, and they read from the script, it makes me crazy. I don't even want to talk to them. So I don't like people that are reading a script. You want to talk to me about a guest? Talk to me. If you don't know enough about your client that you have to read it, then I don't want to talk to you or your client.
And Ms. Boyer, what are 3 things that either publicists or potential guests can do to endear themselves to you? What are 3 things they can do to get on your good side and start developing, hopefully, a long-term relationship with you?
They have to be a good radio guest. They have to be able to have a lot of information, be articulate, and that's really number 1. Number 2, tell me what makes your book or your story important. What is it about it? What's your passion? Give me your passion. Do not come on the radio and talk about something you're not passionate about. It's not going to work. People see through that. People hear that. So I think the most important thing is to be passionate about your message.
Okay, well, you're listening to the Long Story Short PR podcast. We got Frankie Boyer. She's a national host of the Frankie Boyer Radio Show on Biz Talk Radio Network. My question is, will you ban a guest if they are on a horrible cell phone first or a Bluetooth. What's the worst way to join you on via phone
the worst.
As a guest?
The worst. The worst is if this is how I feel about it. If you have an important message and you're passionate, why would you use a cell phone? Why would you use your Bluetooth? Unacceptable. It's still broadcast. It's being broadcasted on the radio. This is not podcast. This is broadcast live radio. And if I'm going to interview, right, terrestrial radio, if I'm going to be talking with you, have the decency to find a landline, please. Now, occasionally it happens that you can't get on a landline. But it's my pet peeve. I hate cell phones for interviews. Hate them, hate them, hate them. I don't care how good you think you sound. I have a guest who I adore him. His message is spot on. He's brilliant. He's a doctor.
Well, you know what? Now you're embarrassing me. So, come on.
And he uses this horrible cell phone. And I keep saying, when are you going to get a new cell phone? This is just horrible. Horrible, horrible, horrible. So I don't like that at all.
Miss Frankie Boyer, host of the nationally syndicated Biz Talk Radio Network. Frankie Boyer Show, heard on the Biz Talk Radio Network and the Frankie Boyer Health Show. Learn more about Ms. Boyer by going to our website at frankieboyer.com. Ms. Boyer, what is the best way for people to connect with you, reach out to you?
I actually love the phone. I love when people call me. I don't like to do bookings online because I'm doing too many of them a day. I'm doing too many interviews a day, so it's best to reach me in between radio shows. I'm on from 11 to 12 and 2 to 3, and in between, and Mondays and Fridays the afternoon is free. And you can reach me at 617-523-4656, 617-523-4656. And my cell is 508-878-1782.
Ms. Boyer, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you, guys. I love working with you both.
And that concludes today's Long Story Short Power PR podcast. Special thanks to our amazing guests, Mr. Ronn Torossian and Ms. Frankie Boyer. To learn more about the Long Story Short Power PR podcast, please go to our website at goldmanmccormick.com. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next week.
Want to be heard or seen in front of millions of people? Want to be an expert on TV or radio? Goldman McCormick PR is a New York City-based public relations agency that specializes in traditional and social media placement for law, finance, media, and corporate-based clients. Goldman McCormick PR also is specialist in website development, radio show creation, press conferences, media training, and so much more. Check out GoldmanMcCormick.com for more information. GoldmanMcCormick.com.